Hi! In this episode, I was lucky to interview incredibly talented artist Ed and his wife, Sophia. Ed is an artist from head to toe. He's passionate about what he's doing, so you'll hear a true story of a full-time NFT artist where he also shares his inspiration with us. Also, we prepared a surprise for you, so stick to the end of the video to find out more. Hi guys, hi Ed, hi Sophia. Thank you for being here today with us. I brought you here to talk about your art, Ed, and about your job as full-time NFT artist. Yeah, it's a new kind of profession, 21st century. So my first question would be how your journey as an artist started, when, and how later you transitioned to be an NFT artist.
Okay, yeah, sure. So yeah, you're right. It's exciting, and I reckon pretty rare to be able to be in an industry right at the very beginning, like we are. There aren't very many people who've been doing this for longer than we have, and that's cool. My journey as an artist, though, I guess probably started as soon as I was born. I was born into a family of artists. My dad is a theatre director, or was a theatre director and designer. My mother is a botanical watercolour painter. My sister's a painter. I tried to be a musician until I was about 30. I was a piano teacher living in Hong Kong, make a living doing that. And I had a bicycle crash and totally smashed my hand and arm, and I couldn't play the piano anymore. So I started drawing just as an alternative creative outlet, and loved it and never went back.
Wow, that's quite a story.
Yeah, it's a cool story. It's nice when something kind of catastrophic happens, which actually ends up being really positive and having cool real world benefits. And then into NFTs was quite simple. I've been working as an illustrator and animator and artist for a number of years, and at the end of 2020 I was kind of standing on the edge of the NFT industry with quite a bit of FOMO, looking in and thinking, I don't know how to do this.
Yeah, we're all familiar with the feeling of FOMO.
Yeah. I mean, FOMO is one of the biggest emotions in NFTs and crypto, and it's really useful if you work out how to use that.
True.
I was lucky enough just to be approached by a project, 𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 They provided all of the tech, they ran the project, I did the artwork. And then once you've had that kind of introduction, it's quite simple to go from that to running my own projects and running projects with Soph and doing personal stuff.
Awesome. And Sophia, are you like working together on like which part of the creative process you are doing in this whole thing?
Well, in a creative way, I help Ed with some of his ideas, but he's actually the artist. But I have creative input in direction of where things go, just to help Ed process his thoughts. But a lot of the time, I'm just a project manager. I'm the marketing, Twitter, Discord lady.
You're also heavily involved in the beginning stages of a project, of thinking, what are we going to make? Yeah. Where's it going to go?
Yeah. So I'm like a concept artist.
Yeah.
But it's a teamwork, right? Yeah. Yeah, cool. I cannot not ask, how did it feel to see your first NFT like being sold?
Yeah, it's exciting. But to be honest, I suppose the joy for me is in the creation, is in the best bit for me is in the actual drawing. And then I think by the time it gets to the point of an NFT being sold, it's probably more exciting for you than it is for me.
Yeah, because you see that you reap the rewards of building the community and the effort that you've put into getting a community interested in it. So it is exciting, but it's also terrifying when people are buying your NFTs. Especially a collection, a project. The point of minting is pretty nervous business. There's tears. There's definitely crying.
Yeah, since you mentioned the community, what do you think? What plays the bigger role in building the collection, the art itself or the community?
That's a hard question. For us personally, it's 50-50 because we have such belief in the art that Ed makes and the concepts that we have. That's really important to us, to put out something that's of really high quality to us and that we're proud of. But then the community is so important because you need to find people who are interested in the ideas that you're selling, the concepts that you're selling, and those people who are genuinely interested in the art that you're making. They're pivotal. Without that community, you're just shouting into the abyss. You need someone there who's interested. And those people as well are so kind and helpful in the way that when you build a community and you have a Discord like we do for our projects, people have ideas to help you further that project that you might not necessarily have come up with yourself. People are actively engaged in getting projects off the floor and into the wider world, so they're really pivotal in helping you sell your art.
Yeah, absolutely. I like the idea that it would all be about the art, but it really isn't.
So much easier.
Yeah, it would be easier and it would be nice, be sort of an ideal situation, but it's definitely not.
But what I see in the space that even sometimes the collections that cannot maybe or not experienced yet to build the community and don't do it proper way, the art still saves them. Like the collection can still become successful. So far as I see, art plays major role, like maybe main role.
Yeah, that's nice to hear. I suppose the art is something that sits behind everything and then you hang everything on that.
Yeah, you do.
You have some art before you start building a community, and they come for that. But then they might stay for different things.
Yeah, they stay for the community, but also the quality of the art is something that you carry on forward, especially when you get a drop and sometimes there's a lot of FUD and some people have missed it. When you've got a good quality piece of art that you're marketing to the wider community, it does and it will get picked up by influential people. It comes round. It's slow sometimes and it's nailed by people, but it does come round eventually.
Awesome. Okay, I'll jump into the next question. So, Ed, in one of your Twitter posts, you mentioned, I'll read the quote, "I'm endlessly busy, I love this stuff deeply, and I could happily draw for 20 hours a day." So could you describe how your creative process looks like from start to finish, like your daily routine?
I suppose one of the most important bits of creative process is having ideas. And that for me happens totally away from my desk. There's no pencils or paper involved in having ideas. That is going for a walk in the forest and trying to clear my mind, and it's totally, I suppose ideally I want to get into a state of flow where I'm just experiencing being alive and ideas come, and then I try and take those back with me, and I've got notebooks filled with ideas for all sorts of things, and probably 99% of them will never happen. But it's really important to be able to just generate endless amounts of ideas. So it's good to keep that going. It doesn't matter. Loads of them just get thrown away. 1% of them get made.
Can I add something to that as to how your mind works? Because some people don't have that creative flow. I don't. I'm a writer and I don't have that creative flow. I have to sit down and really focus on what I'm trying to achieve. I think one of Ed's, it's a blessing and a curse for him, is that he's a bipolar person. So your brain works. You can have quite like manic phases of just getting loads of ideas. And part of his creative output is part of dealing with his being bipolar is actually getting those ideas out of his head. Otherwise they would just send you a bit mad.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Yeah. It's quite useful to get those out and deal with them. And then another facet of having a slightly unusual brain is that I have to That takes a certain amount of dealing with, and one of the ways of dealing with that is simply by doing a creative activity, which could be playing the piano or drawing or whatever. So I've got it built into my life that I have to do that. So there's never a moment where I have to go, oh, I've got to go into my studio and draw all day. It's like, no, definitely. If I do that, I'm going to feel good. The next bit of the creative process following the idea generation is sketching. Really rough, loose, quick sketches that nobody ever sees. And that's a record of the idea. Then following that, everything I do is drawn in ink on paper.
Yeah, that's actually quite interesting. In the video that you sent us, where you send how the process flows, I noticed that you draw on paper, and I wanted to ask, like, it's usual process for you. Why you prefer it over digital?
I haven't found a digital way of drawing that replicates the lines I can get on paper. I'm really into quality of line, and I like everything to be analog and organic, and kind of when I draw on paper, it's a little bit wobbly, and it's a bit, the lines aren't perfect. When I draw on a tablet or an iPad, it's all slightly too slick and clean, and it's lost that kind of real world, organic quality. But apart from that, I really like having a physical thing at the end. I like having that drawing on paper. It's quite nice to sort of be slightly more in the real world at that point.
So you first make a sketch, and then you do the colors and everything on the tablet, or you also have such drawings where you have a complete finished piece on the paper.
Apart from the NFT work, I'm still a traditional illustrator and animator and artist. So I do produce complete finished pieces of work which are completely analog and can be framed and put in a gallery or sold like that. So I'm able to work both ways, and I quite like both. I think coloring digitally it's much quicker, but there's also some kind of magic things that you can do that I can't do with real ink and paint. So I like to have both. Most of my NFT work, though, the drawing will be analog in ink on paper, then that gets scanned, but then everything after that is digital color and finished digitally.
My next question would be about the collections that you already worked on. So you mentioned Satoshi Faces, and it's not now verified on OpenSea. Also another one that I found is Divine of Zodiac, right? Yes, and currently you guys are working on launching the Space Goats NFT collection. That's your own. So tell us more about it. What's the plans for this collection? Why this collection? What gave you the inspiration to create it?
Do you want to start with what the inspiration is? Because
that
is your land.
Yeah. Space Goats is a collection that we've been working on for about 6 months now. It's going to be our first project on Solana. Been working with some developers who are old friends of ours who happen to work in Solana. The concept of the collection is the longer name is Space Goats on Acid. It's all about psychedelics, and the reason for that, from my point of view, is that I'm personally interested in the world of psychedelics, and I've benefited from that. Also, though, it's been a big part of my personal solo work. So the project and the collection is a way for me to bring that personal work into an NFT project.
Channeling.
Yeah, so on a really basic level, it's stuff that I want to draw. But then it's quite good to be able to take that stuff and
do good things with it.
Do good things with it and do interesting things with it.
As we've mentioned previously, Ed's bipolar and has is interested in the psychedelic world. It was a tricky thing to call a project Space Goats on Acid because you don't want to be flippant about a drug reference. It's not something that you want to advocate to people because not everyone's interested in that, and it's a bit of a divisive topic. There's two things. Literally, the Space Goats are on acid in that they are drawn on blotter paper, which is how you would administer a dose of acid. And two, they visually represent the things that are to do with a psychedelic experience. But one of the things that we're aiming to do with the project, and we will do with the project, is to donate a percentage of profits to MAPS, who are the Multidisciplinary Association for Psychedelic Studies, who use money to fund research into how psychedelics can benefit people like Ed with bipolar disorder, like people with post-traumatic stress disorder, people with mental health issues that can't currently be treated very easily with modern medicine. So it's about expanding people's awareness of how things like that can be dealt with, which ties in quite nicely to the NFT world because it is a community of people who are looking ahead. This is a brand new industry. This is a brand new way of the modern world trying to deal with mental health issues. It's been done for many years, but mainly in a kind of a religious or cultural way of people dealing with it, kind of behind closed doors. But now we're getting into a period of civilization where we can talk about these things openly. Governments are looking into it. It's becoming more of a thing that we can actually talk about and use to help people.
And I was just going to talk a little bit about the way that that feeds into the collection. So what we're doing with these is that it's a PFP project. There's going to be quite a large number. We haven't determined the exact supply yet. That's going to come later, depending on the market conditions. But the way that they maybe stand out from other PFP collections at the moment is that they're big, they're huge images, really detailed, filled with layers and levels of detail. And the idea is that you could have one of these things and you could zoom in on it, and you could do this every day and see new things all the time. You know, we want them to be really rich and beautiful.
Just a quality piece of art for people to look at. But also on top of that, we've got a principle that we can collect more than one of the goats, and then you can combine those to create what we're calling a sacred molecule, which relates to either DMT, LSD or psilocybin. And if the collection sells out, what we would like to do is when people collect a certain amount of these atoms to create their sacred molecule, they then can use that on our website to unlock an experience of that trip related to either LSD or DMT or psilocybin. So it would, depending on the molecule you've got, you can use your assets to have an experience on the website.
Just something there for fans of utility.
People love utility.
Yeah, there's some utility.
Yeah, but that's pretty exciting. And I'm glad that today we talk about these topics openly. And what I noticed that even on Discourse, like NFT collections frequently have channel named mental health. So that's new and awesome. And I think you're supporting, guys, a great cause. And thanks for sharing about that. What are your long and short-term plans for what's your next steps after this project? Do you already have something in mind, or you currently just focused on this one?
No, we've got plans going pretty far into the future. We're building at the moment a project which will function as an artist launchpad. So the community that we're building with Space Goats, we're going to, the initial Space Goat token will act as a mint pass or a sort of access token. And what we're doing is bringing artists from outside the NFT space, and we're providing the tech and the support and the marketing to allow them to hopefully quite easily do their first collections. Which we're in a really good position to do because I've worked in the traditional art, illustration, animation space for years. I've got contacts with some brilliant artists. And I guess we just spotted a little potential in the market there, because I'm always talking to artists who are in the position that I was in. You know, they've got a bit of FOMO, they want to get in here, but it's difficult. Which chain, which method? So we're hoping, we've got a list of artists who are really successful in the pre-NFT world, and we're going to bring additional drops of their first work in NFTs.
Wow, that's awesome. I think it's actually, we come into the next question, that which advice you would give to beginner artists that just start in NFTs? And now looking back to your NFT career, is there something you would do differently?
We've made various mistakes along the way, and we've had various problems with different projects. But actually, I think that's part of it. You know, this industry is so new that there are no real experts.
There isn't an NFT guidebook for dumb.
No.
I wish there was.
And actually, I think one of the things that's really cool about this industry is that because it's brand new, it's changing and evolving all the time. You know, if I gave somebody some advice now, it would be no use 4 weeks from now.
Few weeks, yeah. Or maybe next day already, yeah. Everything is so bad. Instead of just providing advice, you actually building a way to help, right, young artists. That's it. If we would have more of such, like, I don't know, organizations or groups of people who are willing to help, that would be amazing. So yeah. Yeah.
But in answer to your question, what advice would I give? I would just say,
get Twitter.
Yeah.
Talk about what you do and be really confident in talking about what you do and selling yourself. Because when people talk about the hustle, that is part of it. You need to be confident in what you're doing, and that the things that you're doing will appeal to people. And they will. I've never seen such an art movement where there are so many different strands of styles, where there is literally something for everyone. You don't need to know anything about art. You don't need to know anything about the history of art. You just buy what you like.
But as an artist, sorry, just to add to that, not but. And my advice would just be, just keep going. You know, there can be a surprising amount of work involved in this. You know, we've both had blue-collar jobs, you more recently than I have. This industry, it's really fun. Totally love it. I love everything we're doing. But it's hard work. It's long hours.
And it's scary. There's going to be moments where you have FUD about your own work. You have to have the strength and the idea that what you're making is good enough to get over that. Because everyone gets that. Everyone's going to doubt themselves, but you have to just keep going.
And that's the same in any creative industry. You know, yeah. This isn't particular to NFTs, but you have to not be frightened of failure. You know, if you're doing anything in any creative industry, if you're courting success, then you're also necessarily courting failure. And some instances of failure is absolutely fine. You know, we have micro failures every day, and we have some bigger failures from time to time. And you keep going.
Adapt, improvise, overcome.
Yeah. Don't give up.
Okay, those are great advice. All of them. Awesome. Thank you. So yeah, I want to also mention the surprise that you prepared for our viewers, that you made a drawing. Want to tell a few words about it, why you decided to draw the Snoop Dogg? I really loved it. It's so cool.
Thank you. I wanted to create a Space Goats derivative. So I used the same techniques that I'm using within the Space Goats collection. We've got the kind of really detailed kaleidoscopic background, which is made from the contents of the image. I drew that molecule beforehand. That's a THC molecule, which I felt was apt
for Snoop.
I
mean, he's one of those people that he's all knowing about the NFT space, and he's such a cool person. Like,
he's a bit of a goat.
He's a bit of a goat, isn't he? No, he just popped up in the NFT industry behind this 𝗬𝗫𝗪𝗫𝗪𝗫𝗪𝗫𝗪𝗫𝗪𝗫𝗪𝗫 name. It's just like,
It's very cool, yeah.
You drew him because he's cool.
Yeah.
There's a lot of celebrities are going into NFTs, and Snoop Dogg, I think, one of the brightest. By the way, when you were talking about space ghosts, I also got the technical question. You mentioned Solana. I wanted to ask why Solana. I understand it maybe as experiment for you, or you already having experience with Ethereum decided that that's better option.
I've got experience with Ethereum with 𝗬𝗪 Faces, which was on ETH, and then we ran our first project together. 𝗦𝗢𝗖𝗔𝗪𝗔𝗪 Oracle of Wisdom was also on Ether, and we ran into some problems with that, which were partly to do with the choice of the chain. I reckon the project would have been more successful if we'd launched it on another chain. I definitely don't want to say anything against Ethereum.
Disclaimer,
I
love Ethereum.
Yeah. I love that chain. I will always hold Ethereum, and I buy and sell these on ETH. At the same time,
it's more about from a customer point of view, isn't it? Really, it's the gas fees for people who are trying to buy these. Just Solana is a lot more accessible for people, and we like that about that chain, that it is more accessible for people to actually buy something without suffering an additional cost.
Yeah. Also, though, which we've just learnt since coming over to Solana, the community here is absolutely brilliant.
We're setting up Twitter spaces with a lot of Solana artists, just to talk about different topics that we like talking about. We're going to talk about mental health. We're going to talk about psychedelics, art, inspiration, and everyone messages back. It's not like we don't want to be associated with you. It's like everyone will just message back and go, here, this is my time zone. Let me know when we can chat.
Yeah, I think the NFT community as a whole
Yeah.
is like that. It's a very, very warm, friendly place, but Solana in particular, even more so, is
it? Right, I didn't know. Interesting.
Yeah, we were surprised to find. It's like, all right, this is a totally nice place.
Maybe it's possible because it's still smaller community and less widespread as Ethereum. Yeah. So to finish, guys, do you have anything else you would love to share with the community, or shout out maybe some artists, or I don't know, upcoming projects?
I feel like it would be remiss of me not to mention that I have personal solo one-of-ones coming out on Solana.
Yeah, sure. Let's talk about that.
It's the hustle.
Yeah, so I've got 2 collections coming out on Solana. The first one, Merlinchild's Perambulations, is a series of one-off handmade psychedelic looping animations. They're coming to Holoplex very soon. And then another collection coming soon to exchange.art is the Mysterium Collection, which is a series of pen and ink drawings, each of which comes with a copy of the book, Mysterium Collection.
Awesome. And this book that you created, is you created on your own, or you collaborated with someone?
These are all just my work, yeah. So I've been slowly, ever since I've been in the NFT world, which is just over a year now, I've been working on big projects and collections, but at the same time just slowly, gently working on my own work. So, but I haven't released any of that yet. So these will be my first one-of-ones. So my Genesis coming soon.
Thank you for coming today, and sharing with us in this episode of NFT Calendar. And it was nice talking to you, and interesting, I'm sure a lot of useful information for NFT artists, beginners, and someone already in the space. See you, hopefully maybe see you sometime soon when you launch your own collection.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Really nice to meet you and really nice to talk to you. And hope to do again soon.
Giveaway time. Ed prepared a stunning art piece especially for our episode, and we decided to give it away to you. All the conditions for the giveaway you will find in the Twitter post link below, so hit that bell. See you in the next episode. Bye!